Long before the Greeks worshipped Zeus or the Egyptians praised Osiris, there existed an ancient civilization that left behind one of history's most intriguing mysteries in the Fertile Crescent between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, in what is now Iraq. The Sumerians created the world's first known civilization around 4500 BC, and with it came stories of powerful beings called the Anunnaki, described as winged gods who descended from the heavens to shape human destiny. But here's where the mystery begins. Were the Anunnaki simply mythological deities created by an ancient people to explain the forces of nature, or could they have been something far more extraordinary? Visitors from another world who came to Earth thousands of years ago, this question has sparked one of the most controversial debates in archaeology, anthropology, and ancient history, dividing scholars, conspiracy theorists, and the public into two distinct camps: those who see the Anunnaki as nothing more than ancient mythology, and those who believe they represent evidence of extraterrestrial contact in humanity's distant past. Let's explore both sides of this fascinating mystery. The traditional scholarly view the Anunnaki as ancient Mesopotamian gods, according to mainstream academic consensus. The Anunnaki were a group of deities within the ancient Mesopotamian pantheon, worshipped by the Sumerians, Akkadians, Assyrians, and Babylonians. The name Anunnaki derives from the Sumerian term meaning princely offspring, or those of royal blood, referring to their status as descendants of the supreme sky god Enki, the earth goddess. In the earliest Sumerian texts dating from around 2100 BC, the Anunnaki were described as powerful divine beings who controlled human fate and served as judges in the underworld. The term first appears in inscriptions from the reign of Gudea and the third dynasty of Ur, where it referred to the most important deities in the Sumerian pantheon, the seven gods who decree an Enlil Enki, Ninhursag, Nana Utu, and Inanna. Each of these deities had specific roles and domains. Enlil was the god of air who separated heaven and earth. Enki was the god of water and wisdom, while Inanna was associated with love and war. The Anunnaki appear prominently in ancient Mesopotamian literature, including the Epic of Gilgamesh, where they serve as judges of the dead, and in Inanna's descent to the underworld, where seven Anunnaki judged the goddess for her hubris. Archaeologists note that unlike other deity groups, the Anunnaki were never worshipped collectively. Instead, each member had individual cults and temples in specific cities. This makes perfect sense from a historical perspective, as ancient Mesopotamian religion was highly localized, with different cities having patron deities who protected their interests. The Anunnaki represented the natural evolution of religious thought in early agricultural societies, where people needed divine explanations for natural phenomena, seasonal changes, agricultural cycles, and social hierarchies. The gods provided a framework for understanding an unpredictable world and establishing social order through divine authority. This traditional interpretation is supported by extensive archaeological evidence, comparative mythology from other ancient cultures, and centuries of scholarly analysis of cuneiform texts using established translation methods. The ancient astronaut theory aliens masquerading as gods. In 1976, everything changed when author Zecharia Sitchin published The 12th Planet, the first book in his Earth Chronicles series. Sitchin claimed that his independent translations of Sumerian cuneiform texts revealed a shocking truth. The Anunnaki were not gods at all, but extraterrestrial beings from a distant planet called Nibiru. According to Sitchin's interpretation, Nibiru is a mysterious 12th planet in our solar system, with an elongated elliptical orbit that brings it close to Earth every 3,600 years when this occurs. The planet's inhabitants, the Anunnaki, travel to Earth using advanced technology. Sitchin argued that approximately 450,000 years ago, the Anunnaki first arrived on Earth not as gods, but as space travelers on a mining mission. They came seeking gold, which they needed to repair their planet's deteriorating atmosphere. The problem was that mining gold was difficult, dangerous work. So the Anunnaki decided to create a slave species to do the labor for them using advanced genetic engineering. They combined their own DNA with that of primitive hominids creating modern humans as a hybrid worker race. Sitchin's theory suggests that many ancient myths, including the biblical creation story, are actually historical accounts of these genetic experiments performed by alien scientists. The Sumerian flood narrative, which parallels Noah's Ark, was, according to Sitchin, a real event caused by the Anunnaki leadership's decision to wipe out humanity when humans became too numerous and rebellious. Sitchin claimed that ancient Sumerian texts described the Anunnaki's advanced technology, including flying vehicles, space travel, genetic manipulation, and even nuclear weapons, which he believed were used in wars between different Anunnaki factions. The ancient astronaut theory gained massive popularity through books, television, and shows like Ancient Aliens and internet communities. Sitchin expanded his ideas in later works, claiming that the Anunnaki built the pyramids, Stonehenge, and other megalithic structures around the world, using technology far beyond what ancient humans possessed. He even predicted that the Anunnaki would return to Earth possibly as soon as 2012, when Nibiru next approached our planet. Sitchin's theory offers an intriguing alternative explanation for humanity's rapid technological and cultural advancement. The sudden appearance of complex civilization, agriculture, writing, and mathematics in ancient Sumer does seem remarkably advanced for its time, leading some to wonder if outside intervention played a role. The evidence debate: what do the texts actually say? The controversy surrounding the Anunnaki largely comes down to translation and interpretation of ancient texts. Dr. Michael Heiser, a scholar with a PhD in Hebrew Bible and ancient Semitic languages from the University of Wisconsin, has extensively studied the same Sumerian tablets that Sitchin claimed to translate. Heiser's analysis reveals fundamental problems with Sitchin's interpretations first. Heiser points out that Sitchin's translation of Anunnaki as those who from heaven came is simply incorrect. The term actually means princely offspring or princely blood, a meaning that has been consistent across scholarly translations for decades. Sitchin's version appears nowhere in legitimate academic translations of Sumerian texts. Regarding Nibiru, Heiser's research shows that in authentic Sumerian and Babylonian texts, Nibiru is identified as Jupiter, or sometimes Mercury, not a mysterious 12th planet beyond Pluto. The Sumerians, according to their own records, knew of only 5 planets, plus the Sun and Moon. They had no knowledge of Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto, which weren't discovered until the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries. Respectively, Nibiru is described in ancient texts as a visible celestial body that appeared annually, not every 3,600 years, which completely contradicts Sitchin's orbital theory. Perhaps most damaging to the ancient astronaut theory is that nowhere in Sumerian literature do the texts describe the Anunnaki mining gold, genetic engineering humans, all coming from another planet. These ideas, which form the foundation of Sitchin's theory, appear to be entirely fabricated. Scholars can search the electronic text corpus of Sumerian literature, an online database containing virtually all known Sumerian texts, and find no references to these concepts. Sitchin never provided direct textual evidence for his most dramatic claims. Instead, he relied on selective quotation, creative interpretation, and what critics describe as deliberate mistranslation to support his predetermined conclusions. Mainstream scholars have universally rejected Sitchin's work, labeling it as pseudo-archaeology, and pointing out that he systematically misrepresented ancient texts by quoting them out of context, truncating quotations, and assigning radically different meanings to Sumerian words than their established definitions. The scientific community has also rejected the Planet X Nibiru theory. NASA has stated unequivocally that no large planet is approaching Earth, and that the gravitational effects of such a massive body would have been detected long ago by our sophisticated astronomical instruments. The cultural impact and modern debate, despite scholarly criticism, the Anunnaki ancient astronaut theory has had an enormous cultural impact. Millions of books have been sold, television shows have been produced, and online communities continue to debate these ideas. The theory appeals to people for several reasons. It offers an alternative to both religious creation stories and scientific evolution, providing what seems like evidence-based explanation for human origins. It taps into humanity's fascination with the possibility of extraterrestrial life and provides simple answers to complex questions about ancient achievements. The Anunnaki theory has also influenced modern UFO beliefs, conspiracy theories, and alternative spirituality movements. Some people find comfort in the idea that advanced beings created and guided humanity, while others are attracted to the apocalyptic elements of the story, particularly the predicted return of the Anunnaki. The debate reflects broader tensions in how we understand the past. Mainstream archaeology emphasizes careful analysis of physical evidence, peer review, and established methodologies, while alternative theorists argue that academic institutions suppress revolutionary ideas and that ancient peoples possess knowledge that mainstream science doesn't understand. This controversy also highlights the challenge of interpreting ancient texts that were written in dead languages using cultural concepts that may not translate easily to modern understanding. However, it's important to note that the same scholarly methods used to translate Sumerian texts have successfully deciphered Egyptian hieroglyphs, Linear B, and other ancient scripts. These methods have revealed detailed information about ancient cultures, trade relationships, laws, literature, and religious beliefs without requiring extraterrestrial intervention. The search for truth, separating fact from fiction. So what can we conclude about the Anunnaki? The archaeological and textual evidence strongly supports the traditional interpretation. The Anunnaki were important deities in ancient Mesopotamian religion, part of a complex pantheon that helped early agricultural societies understand their world and organize their communities. There is no credible evidence that they were extraterrestrial beings. The Sumerian texts themselves, when properly translated, describe the Anunnaki as gods, not aliens. The remarkable achievements of ancient Sumer can be explained through human ingenuity, adaptation to environmental challenges, and the gradual accumulation of knowledge over many generations. The development of writing agriculture and urban planning represents humanity's natural progression, not alien intervention. However, the popularity of the ancient astronaut theory reveals something important about human nature: our desire to understand our origins, our fascination with the possibility that we are not alone in the universe, and our tendency to seek simple explanations for complex phenomena. The Anunnaki story, whether viewed as mythology or misinterpreted history, speaks to fundamental questions about human identity, purpose, and our place in the cosmos. The real legacy of the Anunnaki lies not in what they may have been, but in what they represent to us. The ancient Sumerians created these divine figures to help make sense of their world, just as people today create theories to make sense of mysteries from the past. In both cases, the Anunnaki serve as mirrors, reflecting our deepest hopes, fears, and questions about existence. Whether gods or aliens, the Anunnaki continue to captivate our imagination precisely because they touch on the most profound mystery of all: how did we become human? The continuing mystery, ultimately the question of whether the Anunnaki were ancient gods or aliens, may be less important than what this debate teaches us about the relationship between evidence belief and the human need for meaning. While mainstream scholarship provides compelling evidence that the Anunnaki were mythological deities, the persistence of alternative theories demonstrates humanity's enduring fascination with our origins and our desire to believe that we are part of something larger than ourselves. The Sumerian civilization itself remains one of humanity's greatest achievements, representing the birth of urban life, writing legal systems, mathematics, and literature. Their stories of the Anunnaki, whether interpreted as religious mythology or misunderstood historical accounts, continue to inspire wonder and debate. Thousands of years after they were first inscribed in clay, as we continue to search for life elsewhere in the universe and to uncover new archaeological evidence from ancient sites, the Anunnaki debate serves as a reminder that the truth about our past may be far more complex and fascinating than any single theory can encompass. Whether the Anunnaki were gods, aliens, or simply the product of ancient human imagination, their story remains one of the most compelling mysteries from humanity's distant past, ensuring that the debate between believers and skeptics will continue long into the future.